So if you've been following the channel for any length of time, you'll know that I am very critical of modern games and modern developers. And when Gran Turismo Sport came out, I basically said, it's a beautiful game, but it is unsure what they were targeting. Do they want to be an esport or not? And they ultimately, in their quest to create some sort of an esport, really neglected the classic Gran Turismo gameplay and neglected the Gran Turismo fan. But over the past year, the game really has gotten better, and I think now it's a shining example of how developers can do a course correction, and I think now it is truly a Gran Turismo game. So I wanted to go over some of the upgrades, some of the improvements that the game has made, and talk about where they can go from here. So I think there are three key improvements that the game has made. First, and most importantly, they have patched in after the fact a classic Gran Turismo game, in the sense that now you have all of the cup competitions. You can go from amateur or beginner to amateur to pro to advanced or whatever the final one is. You can unlock these races, and you can have that experience that you had in all of the other Gran Turismo games. Secondly, they have brought in a lot more cars. It is now a lot more fleshed out than it was a year ago. They're all premium car models. They're all reasonably different handling cars, fun to drive. So it feels like each time you have to get a new car for one of these events, that it's a meaningful purchase. You're not just buying another variant of Mercedes SLS AMG. All of these cars are unique and interesting. And for that matter, they've also brought in a couple more tracks. And they're beautiful looking tracks. They have the Red Bull Ring in Austria. I think they have a French track that it's Saint Croix. I think that might be one that they designed. So it's and a couple of others that I can't think of off the top of my head. Nürburgring was added not recently, but over the course of the year. So now you have the cars, you have the tracks, you have the offline competition structure. It is very much a Gran Turismo game. And as far as the third improvement, which I think is really significant, is they have, over the year, they've tweaked the AI. When I first got the game, I kind of felt, I'm running through a field of racers. They're not particularly challenging as far as tactics. The fast cars are fast, and I have to try to catch up to them. But it felt like I was, almost like a ghost, sort of moving through the field without too much difficulty. But over the course of the year, they've really created a fun, competitive AI, such that if you start at the back of the pack and you're fighting for 11th place, you will really have a fight for 11th place, and depending on how long you set a race to be, or how long a competition race is, whether it's 4 laps, 8 laps, or you set it to some 10, 12, 15 laps, that as the race develops, you're going to find yourself in a number of battles. And it's not just going to be like, oh, the car's fast, I hang on its tail for a little bit, I sit in the slipstream, and I eventually pass it on the straight, and that's that, and I move on to the next. If you make a mistake, that car is going to come and try to overtake you. They may, I don't want to say they'll block illegally, but it will be a fight. And as a result, it's a fun game to play regardless of whether you get a podium or not. You can finish in 8th place and have a good time. And that's where I think a game excels, is when, even if you're not so good at it, or maybe your car setup in this case wasn't so great, you're still having a meaningful gameplay experience because you're fighting for whatever you can get, and it's a good competitive game. I'm not going to say that this is great AI, like simulation style AI. It doesn't obviously stack up to human competitors who are really good, but if you're going to invest the time to play this game and to move through the single player, it makes it a whole lot more fun. But that's not to say that there are things the game can improve upon. I mean, this is not all a perfect package by any stretch of the imagination. I think one thing the game still does very wrong is that, each day you have a mileage target. When you hit that target, you basically enter a slot machine type game and you can win cars. So it's a good idea in principle, but I've always felt that once you hit that target, which you can do depending on what races you're going after in a certain day, it's 2 to 4 races. And after I race those 2 to 4 races and I get my car, I don't feel the need to continue grinding. The credits that you get from grinding, are not going to get you a cool, expensive car. It's that slot machine game that will get you that car, and once you've played the game, you have to wait 24 hours to do it again. So, that kind of kills the Gran Turismo feel for me, because in the past, you would have those seasonal competitions. Maybe you could get 200,000 for winning, or 80,000 for like getting 5th or 6th place, and you could run those races again and again and grind out a good car. You still can't do that here, and I think that's a problem. The other problem is that when you win cars in this slot machine game, there is still, at least as of this recording, no way to sell them for credits. In other Gran Turismo games, of course, you might get a certain car for winning a seasonal competition. You have that car already, you sell it, you get some credits, and you get that next car. I mean, I have a lot of duplicates, and there's really not much I can do with those duplicates. Now, I think one of the reasons I may be doing this is because, at least within the past 2 or 3 updates, you can buy cars for $1.50. And when a game takes that route, I get a little suspicious, because if they want me to pony up extra money for these cars, then their incentive would be to give me duplicates of what I already have. On the other hand, I also noticed that when a player in your region wins a big competition, it seems like everyone in that region is getting a boatload of credits. So I logged in a couple days ago, it said someone in the United States won something, and I got 200,000 credits. So it's hard to tell where they're going with these two systems. I guess we'll just have to wait and see, but the game, does update on a fairly consistent basis, and things do change for the better. So I think now, you combine the fun racing, the variety of cars and tracks, and the gorgeous HDR visuals, plus add in all of the changes that they've made to the AI, just to how the overall game is structured. And this is now, I think, a Gran Turismo game that fans of the series can play, and certainly that has that esports element if you want to get into it. So I think an accomplishment for Polyphony Digital after 1 year realizing that they needed to alter the game, make it more engaging to longtime fans, change the AI, build out the esports stuff. It is a success story, and I think it is well worth playing if you're an old school Gran Turismo fan.